When I first met Michael Bagwell, I was undeniably impressed with his writing. While reading any poem of his, I become entrenched in an entirely new world, usually full of bizarre and striking imagery. Mike never ceases to surprise with beautiful, infectious syntax, but also an astute attention to detail. To quote Henry James, he is a writer on whom nothing is lost. He knows how to make life interesting in art instead of the other way around. In The New Girl, he writes through the perspective of a young girl becoming painfully aware of herself internally and externally, to quote, "She had a girl name and not a bird name, so I liked her. Miranda. Teachers always tell me, why can't you be more like Arlette?" Please welcome Michael Bagwell.
Hi, how's it going? So the first poems I'm going to read are out of a series that's a 6-part poem paired with a long painting. So the series is called The Rose Thief. This one's part 1, What Was Lost. It is hard to call anything here wild. A thief came by and stole the rose from in front of the window. He set fire to it and hid the ashes between the bones of his forearm. There are a few things I would die for. I don't know what they are anymore. What does it mean if you don't have hands in your dreams? It means you pick flowers with your teeth and let the ashes float like prayers. This is 2. This compassion would take a lifetime to understand. The windowsill played charades on the kitchen wall. My friend is a desert, I guessed, and was wrong. We lost ourselves in the pure moment of discourse, which means we were on fire, which means we were collecting ashes between our ribs. Love is a skin unwound like a road that everything passes over. As ghosts, we strangled the sky. Our hands were birds' nests. Our bodies moaned like sticks woven into each other. Smoke is holy like a wandering moon, like a heart. Go in. It belongs to no one, I guess. So, we're giving these out at the LLF table, so if you want to read the rest of those, just stop by. This is a separate series called When We Look at Things, We Steal Their Color and Grow Heavy Under Their Weight. And this poem is called Advice, and then I was alone but not. What you need is a gimmick, the guy in the alley said. He was peeing and not looking at me. It would be disturbing if people could really unravel. Then again, in certain settings, it could be quaint. I'm thinking about migrating. We could go south until we were going north. Circles are redundant like that. I had the feeling I was forgetting something, that a man would yell, "What the hell do you think you're doing?" And I would fumble and think suddenly that everyone was watching, but look around and realize that there was no man, no crowd, even the earth had disappeared. Time is sharp and slippery so that it cuts up your hands something awful. Look at mine, for God's sake. Look. This is a test run. We will have to carry everything. Close, then far, then close again. Most of the rest of these are going to be from a series that follows about 20 characters around a surreal world with different, varying logics. This one's called The Last Trip to the Country. 1. The doctor came by with a mirror veiling his face and the smell of dead fish still on his cloak. "Ah, yes," he said in a Russian accent. "Here's the problem, Besby. You were born between a pair of legs." He put one of those fake arrows over my head and said, "That ought to do you for now," patting my shoulder farewell. I wrote a letter. "Dear wife, I am sick again, but not to worry. I wish I could hear from you. News from my front. They've decided to stop reanimating the young. The current war is taking its toll on all of us. I hope you are making progress in the art of facial expressions. You'll have to show off for us when you come back from the country. Yours, husband. 2. I was out in the false garden wearing my respirator when the doctor came by again. Dead fish followed his motorcycle in a long trail leading all the way back up to the church. A few more plopped out of the exhaust when he cut the engine. I'm afraid there's no good news, my friend. I thought that mole on your shoulder didn't look so hot, so I took the liberty of doing some tests. I touched my mirror to indicate I had my respirator in. Yes, I know. I'll do the talking. He had a German accent now. I'm sorry, friend, but you don't have long to live. You're an endangered species, a transient. There's nothing I can do. 3. Sam stopped by with a Sharpie mustache drawn on his face to cheer me up. I hadn't seen him in 11 years. I haven't seen you in 11 years, I said. I know, he said. I'm sorry. Things are hard. Yes, I said. When are we going to play some music, Besby? When I get better. I meant it. I heard him crying a little. I know, he said. 4. Dear wife, in my dream our mirrors turned into lakes for all of the dead fish, and each of us became a vibrant fishbowl. You should have seen it. The whole world was swimming. Imagine this is what it will be like when I see you again. Yours, husband. A round-faced kid rung the doorbell, obviously one of the resurrected. He had a face, but it was like all the rest, a little too waxy and drooping in the wrong places. I have these for you, he said, handing me a packet of my own letters. I coughed for a long time. He was gone by the time I stopped. This one's called Pine Omens. 1. Let's put the whole thing behind us. We buried Modenego in the back by the hamburger stash, and our mutual friends became expressions of some kind. There were mild pine storms throughout the funeral, and by 0700Z, the officials had announced that this weather would continue for the next few days, and our bodies would be forced to rock back and forth inside ourselves. Cutter was Modenego's little deer and would whimper at the smell of burgers or even sometimes condiments or lettuce. I looked down into her mouth, and there were 8 more of her looking back from the dark, which is a particularly bad omen. They didn't whimper, though, and when they walked out, all wobbly through her eyes, on 4 new legs, I had to change my mind about what the book had to say on that, and think that maybe we really could move on. 2. This is a quote from the Book of Omens. There are things inside of us that need to be let loose. We have the sense of being not yet trees, full of ghosts in our own bones. Book of Omens 31:6. I had to go back to boot camp after the 3-day leave. At 0600Z, Joanna calls for the soup and announces flight attendants, jetpacks off, and we remove our jetpacks and fold them into neat piles. It is no secret that Randolph St. Cosmo is the beauty of the TRP's Special Sky Details wait staff. And today he receives flirtations from Joanna, even as he ladles soup to us attendants. Why don't you do your country a favor with that tongue of yours, I heard her whisper, as he was ladling into my outstretched bowl. We grimaced at the thought of tonguing that wrinkled canal, but did he do it? Yes, he did. The soup was hamburger soup, and for a second I thought I could hear whimpering from my jetpack. When I unfolded the pine needle panels, Cutter 2 was looking back at me. I knew I would be reprimanded, but I held her damp snout against my shirt and said, I know, he's really gone, and rocked back and forth inside myself. 3. At 1500Z, Joanna lines up the girls in their red miniskirts and their bare nipples gracefully curving into the clouds and announces, prepare to be launched towards the hungry earth. The way I think of it, a tree blossoms and breaks into small, helicoptering seedlings. So I am the first to jump after the girls, for my country, cock aimed directly into a twirling miniskirt. My heart is a ghost light that grows too large for my shirt, too large for the air. Cutter 2 breaks up into constituent materials in the parachute, but the book says that's not a particularly bad omen, and who knows, maybe we really could move on. And this is from the perspective of the little girl that Joanna was mentioning when she introduced me. So, this one's called Nice Things. My sister is only one bird, and what a pretty bird. She fly like Sky Patrol, but mother won't let her, even if she adults. The room is flutter-winged. Arlet is sister-winged, but not like my friends. My friends like my fingers best. I asked mother, and she said, who wouldn't like your fingers best? I don't know, I said, and she perched her hand, nice and soft. Knocks mean man, mean new bonsai'd friends. Men say, hi, Robin, and mother ornithology's every man gift. Seahorse to Pegasus. We keep them in a trunk under the bed, with new, pretty wings. Lion to griffin, rhinoceros to ornoceros, which is my favorite. I shown him to class, and he poked out Billy's eye. Hee, poke, poke. But he's not allowed anymore. I don't want wings, I want a horn, a pretty horn to poke with. This is the new girl from the same perspective. Boris knocked at the door with the Pegasus in his hand. He said, found this little guy all the way down by the fence at Einem. She fluttered into my fingers and began preening her wings. Boris hurt a little, I could tell. He gave mother the gift in the first place, and here it was, runned away and dirty. I liked Boris. I liked his glasses that made his face an owl. Hoo, I said, and he nudged my nose. Tell your mother I came by, he said, and bye, Robin, he said, and coughed as he walked down to his house. In school, the new girl sat with me, and I wanted her to like me. I wanted to show her my rhinoceros, but I'd get in trouble if they knew I had brought him. She had a girl name and not a bird name, so I liked her, Miranda. Teachers always tell me, why can't you be more like Arlet? Arlet graduated with honors, and Arlet would never trip a teacher, and Arlet always had the nicest things, and Arlet would never kiss a girl. Billy pushed me, and I made a muscle and charged my head into his stomach like my rhino, but I got no horn and just fell on him. I could still spit, and so I spit on his good eye, and I felt bad when he cried. The new girl with the girl named Miranda laughed, and I think we could be friends. And this is the last poem I'm going to read. It's called Sense Organs. Everything we have is not safe, or else is a feeling we have about ourselves. Stable objects move around us, but they are invisible, or else they are trees, or else they are perfect. Try this. To find out where you end, hold water in your hands, and have someone try to take it from you. Thanks.